Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today we are looking at the Pathfinder Kill Team from the Chalnath expansion. Let's just dive straight into it, shall we? We've got some very interesting things to talk about here, and we start off with the way we build the team. It's the Pathfinder Kill Team. I know what you're wondering. Slightly less than you were wondering with the previous Sisters, or the Commandos, or the Krieg, but can you build an entire team from one box of Pathfinders? So obviously, yes, you can build an entire team, but you're going to run into much the same issues as you would with the Sisters. You could build 10, you could build all the good stuff. There you go. But if you're going to want to run like just 12 regular Pathfinders, well, you're going to need a second box. You can make one of each of the named guys or the special characters, pretty much the same as the Sisters. Are you ever going to want to run just 12 Shasla Pathfinders? I don't think so. No, that would be crazy. But let's have a little look at what we have here. So we're about to go over all of these datasheets, of course, but notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drones that you can create here. There's also the Weapon Expert Pathfinder, which is can take a rail or an ion rifle. This is basically your sniper, your gunner. There are a few options. Note that with the drones, obviously the recon drone counts as 2 picks, same as always. However, you can take all 6 drones. I'm not saying you should, but I feel like there probably is a relatively viable build with 6 drones, the drones controller, 3 snipers and a leader. Like, that's probably not the craziest idea. Anyway, artificial intelligence, same thing. Notice we get this again. So recon drone, that's how you check the visibility. Normal drone, that's how you check the visibility. Cool. Savior protocols. On the off chance you haven't played Tau before, I will read the Savior protocols to you, because it is relatively important. No, I'm not going to read it to you, it's too much. Basically, you can nominate a drone that's within 2 inches of a regular model, regular Pathfinder, not another drone, and you can divert all of the attacks to that drone instead of the model. There you go. So for example, you could keep a shield drone next to your drone's controller, have 5 other drones spread across the board, and that drone controller is going to be pretty safe. Now, I'm not going to go too into the marketized because we actually had the whole of this already kind of spoiled for us, leaked to us by the Warhammer community article. Long story short, it costs you 1 AP. Pretty much every model, apart from the drones, have the Marklight option and the special gunner models. I personally am still a little bit concerned about whether or not it's worthwhile doing, because if you do this, then you can't move. But on the flip side, because to be clear, it's because you do 1 AP to Marklight and then a second AP to shoot. So yes, you're kind of buffing your shot. I don't know, how often in games do you get to just shoot a model and not want to move? For me, not that often, but what do I know? What do I know? And likewise, I feel like marker lighting, for example, a 7 wound guardsman, a bit pointless. Again, what do I know? Art of War, I will read this out because, it's pretty important. Again, we have seen this already. I think it's super fluffy. Basically, your leader, that's the Chaswi, not the Chasla. I realise they're very similar. Once per game, can do one of these. Each time a friendly Pathfinder operative is activated, if it has an engage order for that activation, it can perform a free dash action during that activation. Pathfinder operative, this does include drones. Cool. Free dashes. Free dashes are going to define the Pathfinder team, or Cao Yon. Each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly Pathfinder operative, before rolling your defense dice, if it is in cover, 1 additional dice can be retained as a successful normal save as a result of cover. Offensive, defensive is probably how you can view those. There are going to be a dash isn't necessarily an offensive thing. It could be defensive as well. It's just maneuvering. I will come back to the strategic ploys, the tactical ploys, and the Tac Ops later, because right now we have to read all of this, okay? Chaswi Pathfinder. This is your leader. Pulse carbine, bonding knife. So again, this is actually a pretty, this is not a bad stat line in melee. with balance. You're re-rolling 1. You've only got 3 attacks, but obviously for all Tau, your standout is your shooting. A 4/5 weapon, just bog standard. That's what they all have, really, is really good. Art of War, this is use the Monk card carry on ability. That's what it says. Holographic readout. Once per battle, when a friendly Pathfinder operative, excluding a drone operative, is activated within blue of and is visible to this operative can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the friendly Pathfinder operative's activation, it can perform 1 mission action for 1 less AP. And it has a marker light. Shaslab Pathfinder. As we can see, this is just a standard loadout. It doesn't have GA2, so I don't really know when you'd take this over anything else. In fact, you wouldn't. There you go. Blooded Pathfinder. So firstly, you have a 4-up save instead of a 5-up save, which is nice. A suppressed pulse carbine. So this is the suppressed pulse carbine. It has silent. So that's really cool. You can remain concealed the whole time. You can dash constantly. This guy, I think, is going to be absolutely impossible to pin down. Really good. And if you do pin him down, he's then got a 3/4 weapon in melee. So pretty cool. Drone controller. I'm not going to read the whole of this because it was already leaked on Warcom, so I expect most of you know this. But basically, if you're taking drones, even just one drone, you probably want a drone controller. I don't know when you wouldn't take a drone controller. You'd never not take, even if you don't have drones, you take a drone controller over a regular Pathfinder. I don't know what I'm talking about. You always take all the name guys. Drone Scout. I'll read the Drone Scout, and then this you can just kind of understand that it means that you can either be defensive or offensive with a drone. Cool. Drone Scout. During deployment, if this operative was selected for deployment, you can set up 1 friendly Pathfinder drone operative with a conceal order anywhere in the kill zone that is wholly within red of your drop zone, more than red from enemy operatives, and more than blue from the enemy drop zone. Super cool. You can only do it with 1 of your drones, but you know what? We're about to get onto the drones. If you can drop down a gun drone, just anywhere on the board practically, make sure you get turn 1 shots. Yeah, really nice. Transspectral Interference Pathfinder. Oh god, I just ripped my book. Oh no, I have to buy a new one. Multispectral sensor. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack, when selecting a valid target for that shooting attack, enemy operatives are not obscured. I would say, just quickly, every model here has marker lights and pulse carbines, or they have something better than a pulse carbine. A pulse carbine is really good, so I'm not going to keep on saying they have a pulse carbine. Just know that if any model here needs to shoot, they are good, okay? And then they can system jam for 1 AP. Select 1 enemy operative visible to this operative, subtract 1 from its APL. This operative cannot perform blah blah blah. So subtract 1 APL from an enemy model for one of your AP. Note that it only needs visibility. It's not a shoot action, doesn't need line of sight. Assault Grenadier Pathfinder. We're going to talk about this very soon. Amazing model. And to know why, we have to see the ludicrousness that is Pathfinder grenades. Okay, but we'll get to that in a moment. Grenadier, this operative is equipped with EMP, fusion, and photon grenades. We'll get to those. And they do not cost any equipment points. Those grenades that have the limited special rule, which is all of them, can be selected for this operative used twice instead of once. This guy's crazy. Anyway, nanocrystalline headgear. You ignore any or all modifiers to this operative's APL and to the weapon skill and ballistic skill characteristics of its melee and ranged weapons respectively. This means essentially it can't count as wounded. Communication Specialist Pathfinder. Signal 1 AP. Select 1 friendly Pathfinder operative within red of and visible to this operative. Add 1 to its APL. This operative cannot perform. This is the standard comms plus 1 APL to someone. Medical Technician. This is the standard medic. I don't need to tell you what this does. Res a guy, heal a guy. Res a guy, heal a guy. There you go. Weapons Expert Pathfinder. This is the one that you can take 2 of, okay? You can choose to take 2 rail rifles, 2 iron rifles, or 1 ion, 1 rail. It's your choice. Personally, I still value the rail, but there is a point for the 5 dice on the ion. That's not a poor choice. I say go for it. But what can I say? I just think AP1 Lethal Mortal Wound 2 is generally, I'd rather roll that than an extra dice. Marksman Pathfinder. Again, the Marksman Pathfinder has been already read up on when it comes to Warhammer community. You can either be really killy with an AP1 Lethal 5-up, or you can play the dart round, do a little bit less damage, but have silent. So this guy plus, who was it? This guy back here. Hold on. Oh god, I'm taking so much time. The Blooded Pathfinder. Yeah, those two, you're going to get lots of shots on models that are going to be almost impossible to return fire on. So very cool. Inertial dampener. Each time this operative performs an Overwatch action, for that action, shooting attack, do not worsen the BS. And then we go on to the drones. So the recon drone, the gun drone, the shield drone, the marker drone, the pulse accelerator drone, the grav inhibitor drone, and then equipment. I'm not going to read all of these just to try and speed the video up, but they all do exactly the same as what they do in Compendium. You will probably always take a recon drone. You will probably always take a gun drone. They're very killy. Will you take the others? Maybe. But let's quickly read the marker drone. Note that it has a high intensity marker light. Each time this operative performs the marker light action, the selected enemy operative gains 2 marker light tokens instead of 1. Interesting. This begins the idea of how can we get more marker light tokens onto a model to make it worthwhile. Then we get to the equipment. Now the grenades are super cool. We'll come to them in a moment because they are cool. But target analysis optic 2 EP. Target analysis. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack, enemy operatives with at least 1 marker light token are considered to have 1 additional marker light token for that shooting attack. A model with even a single... Let's go back. Let's see what that does. So at the bare minimum, if they have a marker light token, you reroll 1 of your attack dice. If you give your guys target analysis, note it can't go to drones, that puts them onto a 2+. This is a guaranteed 2 up, which is for that to detect the active operative's ranged weapons, gain the no cover special rule. It's fine, but 3 is the sweet spot. That's where you get the +1 ballistic skill. So you're really aiming for 3 marker lights on a model, but whatever. They are cumulative, of course, and no cover is nice, but yeah, you really want that 3. High intensity marker light, 2 EP, high intensity marker light. This is exactly what we just read from the drone. They get 2 marker light tokens instead of 1. Okay, interesting. Now we're seeing we could start mixing and matching a little bit, maybe. Orbital survey uplink. Now we've read this from Warhammer community already. This is 2 AP, little 1-inch diameter drop. Everything within that 1 inch, as long as you have visibility, not line of sight, visibility, gets a marker light token. Just 1, but pretty good. Drone repair kit. Regain 3 lost wounds. It's 2 EP. Depends how heavy you're going on drones. Could be useful, I suppose. Then we get to the grenades. I'm a big fan of grenades. Let's do the EMP grenade first. EMP grenade 2 EP. It's attack 4, ballistic skill 3, damage 2/3, range red, blast white, indirect, EMP, limited. EMP. Each time a friendly operative makes a shooting attack with this weapon has the lethal X special rule for that shooting attack. X is the target's unmodified save characteristic. This is your Custode killer right here. I mean, this is amazing. This means it's guaranteed to wound. An immediate question I had was, okay, so if I'm throwing this at a Custode with a 2-up armor save, but I'm hitting on 3s, but my critical is 2, what does that mean? I believe it means you're still hitting on the 2. So there you go. It basically turns it into a flamer weapon. Really good against certain matchups, obviously. Don't forget, you do have the Grenadier model that gets 2 of each of these. Next up, we have the Fusion Grenade. 4 EP normally, 3 if you're taking that Grenadier Pathfinder. Fusion Grenade. Now, it doesn't have Blast, unlike the EMP Grenade, but attack 4, 3 up, 4/3, range red, indirect, AP2, mortal wounds 3. It's exactly what you'd expect. It's a melter in grenade form with indirect. Very cool. Then we have the Photon Grenade. 1 AP action thingy. Select 1 enemy operative visible to this operative. Roll 1d6, subtracting 1 from the result as follows. If that enemy operative is not in this operative's line of sight, if that enemy operative is more than red from this operative. On a 2-up, that enemy operative gains a photon token. While an operative has any photon token, subtract white from its movement characteristic. Hi guys, so minor mistake, lost the end of the video. I'm now going to go over the Pathfinder's Tac Ops. Number 1, mark enemy movements. At the end of any turning point, if at least half of the enemy operatives in the kill zone, rounding down, and a minimum of 3 enemy operatives have 1 or more marker-like tokens, you score 1 VP. If you achieve the first condition in any subsequent turning points, you score 1 VP. All things considered, with how many ways of getting marker lights on the enemy, this is definitely viable for certain teams. Obviously, if you're going up against a low model count team, thinking Marines, Custodes, etc., I definitely say any team with 8 or fewer, I think this is actually a really good objective to take. Then we get Patient Hunter. At the end of any turning point, if you scored more victory points than your opponent for the mission objective during that turning point, and more than half of your operatives, rounding down, have a conceal order, you score 1 VP. This is a bit of an odd one. It feels like a little bit of a win more, kind of. So basically, if you're concealed and you've run up and you've played the objective, you get an extra VP. Seems really good, but yeah. And then Killing Blow is kind of the opposite of Patient Hunter, where if instead of playing the objective, you shoot the enemy and you're engaged, then you get Killing Blow. At the end of any turning point, if the total wounds characteristic of enemy operatives that were incapacitated during that turning point is greater than the total wounds characteristic of friendly operatives that were incapacitated during that turning point, and more than half of your operatives, rounding down, have an engage order, you score 1 VP and then score it again. I would say one thing to note is that you do have to still get a kill, even though it says wounds characteristic. It's talking about the wounds characteristic of the model you kill. It's not just deal wounds to the enemy. But apart from that, you know what? You have really good guns. And if you can get your guys onto vantage points, you know, once you see the layout of the map and you think, yes, I can do it, this is going to be a really solid take as well. Obviously, it depends who you're going up against. If you expect your enemy to throw out a bunch of chaff for you to kill, take this. If they're an elite team that's going to play very close to their chest, take this. Probably take this as well, I don't know. Alright, and that's the Pathfinder Tac Ops, and that's Pathfinders in general. Just to quickly summarise my thoughts on Pathfinders, I think they're really strong. I would say that out of these 2 teams, they're probably the stronger one. I think Novitiates have legs. I don't think they're bad. I think their Inferno rule is a bit of a missed opportunity. But aside from that, I think Pathfinders are, if I had to say, you know, if I had to put my mark in the sand, that's not a phrase. If I had to say something, I would say that I think that Pathfinders currently are going to be the strongest team in the game. I think that they are better than Krieg, and I think that they're probably better than Commandos, but I think Commandos will give them a run for their money. But they are definitely a solid team, and anyone that's a Tau player should be really happy with this. Okay, thank you very much for watching, guys. This has been Glass Half Dead. I hope you've had a good day and continue to have a good day. Goodbye.